We're gonna do a Q&A with Natasha Jonas, who I've already sent the link. Was gonna get postponed. We were gonna postpone it because she was a little tied up earlier. So I ran out, grabbed a pizza. It was really good. It was like one of the few pizza places around here that actually tastes like a New York pizza, because everything around here is really just chain restaurants. So I ran out, grabbed some pizza, made a deposit. You know what I mean? And it was good. It was good. You know, why is there paint on my jacket? That has to have come from. I just noticed there's paint on my jacket. On a, it's not a jacket that I wear outside. It's actually a jacket that I used to take out the garbage. But that must have come from the door. Yeah, it must have. I see that Tasha saw the link, so she should be joining us shortly. And I wanted to ask her about, the junior middleweight campaign, the Chris Namis fight, the Patricia Bergould fight, obviously this past weekend's fight, the Marie-Eve Dicaire fight, which was a really good fight. Rafa, que lo que, maning? Toby was in the building, was goody. Jerome was goody. And that's right, we got Ms. Great Britain. She's going to be joining us shortly. I've already sent her the link. You know what I mean? Make sure. Let me make sure I sent her the right link, too. Let me just make sure. Make sure I sent her the right link. Let me enter the studio. Wait. Hey, so I definitely sent her the right link. I did send her the right link. Just had to make sure. And yeah, yo, I just wanted to talk to her about those fights and a couple of the things that she mentioned. There she is.
Yeah,
Here
sorry
she
for the
is.
delay.
Hey, Natasha, how you doing?
I'm good. Sorry for the delay.
It's okay. It's okay. I know I'm a parent. I got plenty of stuff that goes on that ties me up too. I completely understand. Um, so I guess I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I just let's start off by asking about the Dicaire fight. How did that fight differ from the Patricia Bergould fight? Because she is different than Patricia.
Yeah, I think she was a bit more attacking minded than Patricia, and she was physically, obviously. I think myself, Bergelt, and Namas have all weighed in way under the 154 limit, probably closer to the 147 limit. So they were like that kind of played into my hands a little bit. That was a bit more the weight that I was, whereas she was a legitimate 154 and probably got in the ring a little bit heavier. So yeah, I could feel that physical difference, not necessarily in punching strength, but when we was tussling and trying to get her off and leaning on me, that kind of thing.
Was she more aggressive than you expected her to be? Because she's not a characteristically aggressive fighter. Like, she surprised me how much she was coming forward. I actually expected you to come forward, and I expected her to retreat. But she's actually real. This is the first time I've ever seen her be that aggressive with someone.
Yeah, I think I was. We didn't know whether she'd do exactly what you've just said and like kind of retreat and try and counter what I did, or whether she thought that she'd be a lot stronger, a lot bigger, and that's why she would come forward. But we did like anticipate both versions, so like that's why we had a combat for each because we wasn't really sure what she would do. But yeah, I think she banked on that physical size and strength to be more aggressive and come forward, and I probably thought I would wilt her.
Was that the hardest fight you'd say you've had now that you've moved up to junior middle? Would you say that was more difficult? Well, more difficult than the Namis fight, surely, but also more difficult than the Patricia Bergould fight.
Yeah, I think it was one of my most difficult at that weight. But it's definitely not one of my most difficult fights. There's other fights that are harder for different reasons. Some other fights were mentally draining, some were physically draining, some you have to overcome different obstacles. So every fight brings its own like uniqueness. But yeah, definitely at 154, that was one of me toughest.
Do you now feel vindicated because now you're not just a champion? You didn't just win one belt. You've won 3 belts in 1 year. Your Ring Magazine, your Lineal. There were people I remember that criticized your decision to go from Matchroom over the boxer. But do you now feel vindicated that you have 3 alphabet titles?
Yeah, to a certain degree. But to be honest, like you're never going to please everyone. I'm happy just to please myself now. I've been trying for so long to prove the wrong people wrong and the right people right. That like no matter what you do, people just aren't going to be happy with. When I beat Namas, they were like, "Oh, she only had 5 weeks to prepare. She weighed in light and everything." So then I beat Bergout, and they were like, well, she's been inactive and she hasn't done this and she's not a 154. Then I beat the care and they were like, well, she's already been beat before. And I was like, some people are just never going to be happy. They're just never going to be happy. It couldn't get more difficult or more, natural at 154 than the care, unbeaten, beaten only by Clarissa. But there was still people that was unhappy with it. But yeah, so that's what, for that reason. And not just because of that fight, but I've stopped trying to please other people a long time ago. And I actually said in an interview, for all the people that say I've made the wrong decision, give me a year and then come back and tell me that I made the wrong decision. And I don't think, I'm pretty sure someone will come up with something to not be happy about within the year, but I'm very happy about how the year's gone. I don't think I could ever have dreamed of a year in boxing like it. And yeah, we've just got to see what 2023 brings, and hopefully it can be bigger and more successful.
Well, now that you've done that, there were a couple of people that Ben Shalom mentioned. He mentioned Jessica McCaskill, he mentioned Clarissa Shields, and he mentioned Katie Taylor. On your own barometer, which one of those fights is more realistic? Which one of those fights on your barometer is least realistic?
I think when I signed with Boxer, I was like half under the understanding that the Katie Taylor one would be a fight that wouldn't happen again. For whatever reason, I just kind of knew if I signed with Boxer, then that kisses that fight goodbye. So probably that one is the hardest to me, with Jessica being out of contract with Matchroom and with Clarissa having another fight contract with Boxer. Them two right now are easier to me.
So you really want that Clarissa Shields fight? Like, you don't think that that's like biting off more than you can chew? The fact that she's campaigned as high as 168, she's one of the best in the world. That's a fight that you guys are really looking at to stay there.
Listen, Katie was one of the best in the world. I'm not scared of getting in with big names and having big performances. So yeah, like why wouldn't I?
Luis Puente asks, how many more years does she see herself fighting?
Oh gosh, that's a good question. Every year I say this is my last, mentally anyway. I don't know. When I feel that there's nothing else to achieve, when I feel that I can't achieve anything else, and that's as good as my time's going to get, probably then. But when that is, I will never know, because I feel like I'm getting better and better and improving right now with each fight. And whether that's because of the confidence of being a champion and the boost that it gives you, I don't know. But if I feel that I'm ever becoming that stepping stone, or that I'm not improving, then that's when I'll start considering the extra plan.
And that's kind of the perfect segue to what I was going to ask. That do you now feel like a better, more complete fighter than you did, say, a couple of years ago? Like, do you feel that you're actually getting better? Because it looks like it. I don't know if you can tell, but from the outside looking in, yeah, this looks like she's actually getting better with time, like in leaps and bounds.
Again, I just want to feel more than anything that the pressure's off. Like after the Namas win, I just felt like the whole stress of, like I say, trying to prove people wrong, trying to prove people right, and prove to myself that I am world level, I was gone, because I had the title then. So I was like, I don't care what you say, I've got the title, so I know I'm world level, and that was more like a vindication for myself. And then I think now you're just seeing, me flowing, as in like the stress, everything from Namas that happens is a bonus for me.
Now that you're with Boxer, it seems like it shows that you're very happy with your situation, that you're kind of glowing, from how happy you are with the situation. Would you say that Matchroom didn't treat you right?
I wouldn't say they didn't treat me right. I did have good times there, but I've never been quiet about the fact that I did feel undervalued. I did feel that I was always like kind of put in the opposite corner to be beat, and I did feel like I wasn't being paid what I should. Yeah, so and that was the reasons for me making the transition. And now I don't have them feelings, and I'm not saying, you know, like I say, I can't slag it. I had the Harper night, I had the Katie night, and they were good nights, and I had me, 4 or 5 fights before that, so it wasn't all bad, but I felt them things, and when it came to the end of the contract and what we were doing, and when I sat side by side and paired them both up, you know, the boxing one was a whole lot meatier and a whole lot tastier. And as it is a sport, but I'm also a businesswoman. It's boxing's my business. That's what I am. I've got to, take the best contract for me. The boxer also included, Sky, um, as on the commentary team. So, there's a career path after that boxing finishes. So, yeah, it was just the best deal at the time, and with anything, you've got to take your opportunities when they come, but you've also got to take the best opportunity for you. And I don't feel, even though Twitter might say otherwise, but I don't feel I have to justify my decisions to anyone.
Yeah, because the Twitter trolls, like, I know you got a few because I see them all the time. Like, you got a lot of them. Like, they all got something to say. How do you deal with that though? You know what I mean? Because like, you did the amateur thing, you're doing the professional thing. You're not just a champion; you're a unified champion. Ring Magazine, Lineal. How does it feel for you on your end when somebody tries to wag their finger in your face on social media about what you should do?
I probably, with age comes experience, and like I said, now I honestly don't care. There was times when I did, and it used to wind me up, and I'd bite and I'd respond. Every now and again, there'll be one that just touches a nerve that I've just got to respond to. I twiddle my thumbs and I think about it, and I think, don't do it, don't do it. And next minute I'm typing it and sending it. But yeah, now I'm just like I say, I'm just not bothered. I don't really care. I don't like I say, to me, there's just nobody. There's just people on Twitter. I would never ask them for advice, so I sure won't be taking life advice and boxing advice from people who've never been in my position or lived a day in my shoes. So yeah, it is something that you have to work on, because I remember even in the Olympics and the amateur days, scrolling through, and it'd be like, oh, you were brilliant, you were brilliant, you were brilliant, you were brilliant, you're crap, you're brilliant, you're brilliant. You'd be like, who said I'm crap? And that's the one bad one is the one you focus on.
Yeah.
So yeah, it comes with experience, but you just learn to just laugh it off, I think.
Luis Puente asks, would you consider training fighters after your career is over?
When I would love to go back to the amateurs, and I did when I retired from the amateur setup. I went back to my amateur club and started training some of the kids there. And then obviously I went pro, and I just didn't have enough time to carry that on. But it's definitely something I'd look to do in the amateur kind of setup. When I look at Joe and what he does and how he goes to a camp, that's the only example of a coach I've got. And I don't think I could dedicate myself the way that he does. So I probably would never be a professional coach. Maybe do a handing up in corners, maybe. But yeah, I just couldn't dedicate the time, effort, and live that lifestyle that he does. And I think, that's probably why he's so successful, is because he does that. But I don't think I could do that. Not at this stage of my life anyway, especially with a little girl and stuff.
Now, I'm sure you've heard that, I believe it's in the next Olympic Games, that there may not be boxing, that they've taken the game out, they've taken that out of the games. And do you feel that could be a devastating blow for all the progress that has been made? Because a big part of the progress that has been made that brought eyes and quality to the sport have been fighters like yourself that went through that amateur system, that have that pedigree, that you can see the skills, that there's a glaring difference between this era and the previous one. And a part of it is you have these amateurs that have all this amateur experience, and now they don't have those Olympics, to participate in. Do you feel that's going to have an adverse effect on the amateur system as a whole for young girls that want to box?
I do, yeah. I think, visibility is key, and it's been huge from 2012, from when we started. So to lose that at such, a pivotal time within women's sport, especially here in the UK, coming off the back of the football, where the ladies winning the Euros, and then the boxing, and how we've had Clarissa headlining, and sellout shows in the UK. We've also had obviously Katie Taylor, who's Irish, but a lot of the UK fans watch her. So I think it would be devastating. It's devastating for young girls, and it's devastating for the amateur sport, because if you don't see yourself being on that GB setup, and representing your country and being in the Olympics, then you are going to turn pro, and there's a vast of experience that we're going to miss out on if that happens, because you're going to have to learn on the job as a pro, as opposed to going through the mill as an amateur. And not every great amateur turns into a great pro, but it definitely does put you on a good pathway, and put you like a step ahead of the others in the pack.
Yeah, because I just wondered, can the amateur system survive? Not just, in the UK, obviously, it affects everyone, every country. Can the amateur system survive without those Olympic Games to aspire to?
It's tough to see how it does. Yeah, it'll be tough. I know they have like prize funds and money now, which they never had when I was there. And you get good pay for winning prize tournaments, big tournaments, the Europeans, World Championships. So there's still an incentive there, but the goal ultimately is to become an Olympian. That's and to be an Olympic gold medalist. That's what everyone does it for. That's what people train for. That's why they stay years. That's why they work so hard and sacrifice so much, is to get the big goal at the end. And if there's no goal at the end, then what's the point? You may as well just be a pro and go for the world titles.
Luis Puente asks, oh wait, he already asked that, so let me see what's the next one. I'm good. I'll get to that, Emma. Jesus Christ, dog. Like I was trying, I don't like ambushing people with questions.
Yeah. No, it's okay.
Well, there's a lot of people. They're talking. They love the first fight. I love the first fight. They love the first fight, and it's like that was a fight that I saw. It woke a lot of people up. Like, yo, dog, you can get them, and they'll give you a goddamn good fight, regardless of who you think won. That was pure entertainment. And, we saw that there was a story that came out that, Eddie, Steffi Bull, he said it, that an offer has been made for you to fight Terri Harper. And that, a lot of people get to talking, and to them, it seems like, she wants to go her own way, that's not necessarily a priority to her. So how do you feel about that rematch? And how high or low does it rank on your priority list?
Honestly, there's obviously the undisputed thing that's there, which is like it is important, but there's also just as big a fight. I think people like Jessica McCASKILL has got just a good as profile as Terri Harper, and Clarissa's is even bigger, and Katie's is just as big as Clarissa's. So I have options, which was always the problem, that I never had options before, and I was stuck in certain a little rut of trying to make something happen. And now the shoe's on the other foot. When she had options and she had the opportunity to do the instant rematch, which was actually promised, she never. And there was stuff that was said, not by her to be fair, but from Terri and from Steffi, that just it kind of eats at me inside. And even the stuff that he says now, I think if there's there's ever a reason that she won't get the rematch, it'll be because of you, not because of her. But like, yeah, you can never write it off. That big 6-figure thing that they were saying, that might be big 6 figures to Terri, but it's definitely not big 6 figures for me. And that's like not even trying to be funny or disrespectful. Like I said, I've been getting big figures since I moved away, and that's not a lie. So yeah, it was an offer. Was it big? No. They said I wasn't worth what I wanted the last time. And that's why I'm, I went and looked for other opportunities in boxing, and then I got the money that I felt I was worth. Other opportunities, speaking with Ben, are going to provide bigger money. So I just think, like I say, I'll just make the best decisions for me. Like,
Yeah, because I don't like ambushing anybody with blindside questions, but I guess the revelation that I had, because I saw you guys going back and forth, and I don't know, I had it in my head. I guess that's just the way that I took it. That like y'all was cool after that because y'all put on a hell of a fight. So I kind of thought they're like, oh, that's something that they're probably both very proud of, irrespective of the outcome. That they're amicable in the sense that wow, they really put something on the map. But it doesn't look that way now. Now it looks like, no, there's hard feelings there. There are hard feelings, that there's a little bit of hostility between the teams.
There's no, I don't think there's any, well, I don't think there's anything between me and Terri. I've got no, I don't not like her. I don't, she's not my best mate to a call every time. But like, I've got, I don't, yeah, she's just another female boxer. Like I know her, I know who she is. We don't really speak, but I've got no issues with her. I do have issues with Steffi,
Mm.
and I have issues with some of the things that he said after last time. And when he was in the driving seat, he was, saying what he wanted to say and had all the demands and had all the power. And now the shoe's on the other foot. So.
Mm, 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 mm. All right. Base says, "Love you, Tasha. Do you
Love you
think?
too.
Do you think another loss would signify the end of your career, your pro career, or is there still more for you to do? P.S. Follow me back."
I think sometimes we get like built up about this, about losses and about what I've already proved that you can come back from a loss. I'm not scared to lose. I'm not scared. I don't like to lose, obviously, but I'm not scared to lose. But I think at this late stage in my career, I don't have a lot of time left. And that's why I do want to take the big opportunities, because, I'm not going to be around forever. I'm not a Terri Harper who's got time on my side, or whoever else, Clarissa, who's young and still got lots of time. I don't have that, so I want to take the big opportunities when they come.
Well, I mean, you getting better. You like you just like you shoot. I've watched your whole career. That's how I know, and I can see it. Like I'm like, yo, dog. Like from now till then, it's just you could see it, dog. Like it's just wow. And I said after the Obanoff loss, she'll be fine. She's gonna win a title. I got videos where I said it. I said it.
Cool.
I got.
Nice one.
You know what I'm saying? Luis Puente says, "Can you see flaws in Clarissa that make you want that fight?"
Yeah, there's not every fighter's got flaws. She even, yeah, everyone points them out at themselves. I can tell you a million flaws that I did in my last fight, and when you're sitting there, when I sit there and was doing the commentary on Clarissa, I was in awe of how good she was, because I wasn't looking at it as from an opponent's perspective. I was looking at it as a fan of fighting and watching the fight as it unfolded, and she performed brilliantly. So everyone's got flaws, and like I say, we go away in camp and make them as hard as, and put my body through hell on purpose, because you can do it in the camps, you can do it on the night, and sometimes some of the things you go through in camp are worse than the fight. And that just puts you in good stead. Joe is so meticulous when it comes to his planning, that like I know he'll leave no stone unturned. And right now, when we was watching the fights, we've been watching them as fans, but when you watch them as opponents or future opponents, you look at things in a different light.
Yeah. What do you think that because for me the fight was closer. For me, like Clarissa won, no doubt about that. But I don't feel. I saw what people were saying, that it was like, oh, it was one side. Like to me, nah, it's not one sided. That was very competitive. Like I've seldom ever seen Clarissa, and I've watched her whole career. I've seldom ever seen her have to work that hard in a fight. So what, if you're in Savannah's corner, what do you tell Savannah? Like, what does she need to do differently if they have a second fight? What does she need to do differently to secure the W?
I would say became a point where Sav was just looking for the big shot, and Clarissa counteracted that by throwing 5, 6, 7. So she was just getting a little bit overwhelmed. She wasn't really using her jab as well as she should have for how hard and how long her jab is. She could have used it, been a whole lot more effective. But that's
Easier said than done.
Yeah, exactly. It's easy for me to sit outside and say that, but when someone's countering every jab you throw, then you do get a little bit hesitant to throw it anymore. So yeah. There's a whole lot of stuff. I'm sure Sav will know. She's not daft. She's being a world champion herself. She knows what it takes. She knows what she's done wrong, and if she gets the opportunity to do the rematch, she'll rectify it. And to be fair, the same with me and Decay. If you look at the scorecards were really hard. I think one you give it 10-0.
I had it,
but every single round was competitive. I think I give a 3, and Joe give a 4. I think so.
But you know what the difference with your fight and DK and that fight was? There was a lot going on in the pocket with Clarissa and Savannah. You could see Clarissa's work shining through, though, which is why, I gave her the fight. Like, you could see that she's not overwhelmed. She's not pinned down. She can work. She's not uncomfortable. None of that. The glaring difference in your fight with DK is that your work was just cleaner. Like, you didn't have to look for it. You don't have to look for the punches. You can see them. And even though she's applying pressure, but she's the one getting tagged. She's the one with the bloody nose. You didn't have to look hard for anything. So I would say, every single one of those rounds was a round that you really had to earn. But in the end, I had it 7-3. 7-3, or maybe, 7-3. That's how I had it. Like, it was not too hard to score. You know what I mean? Whereas with Clarissa and Savannah, very chippy. Just it's hard when they're so close to each other and all of that is happening at the same time. Emma asks, outside of Shields, who will be your toughest test? Who makes you want to train harder to beat them?
Outside of Shields, probably Katie. Just because of the whole, she beat me twice now. I'm just not happy about it. Especially being one round off. That's just the killer in itself. But yeah, I think that was a little bit of inexperience in championship rounds for me. So
Base says, you deserve your flowers, so here you go.
Oh, he's just trying to get the follow, isn't he?
Yo, dog.
Thank you.
But yeah, man, I mean, I think that I just think it's dope to see that you've come this far, that like it all paid off. Like I for one, personally, it's nothing against Matchroom. Matchroom is great, but I do feel that it was the right decision. Would Natasha Jonas sit here with 3 alphabet titles, Ring Magazine, Lineal, if she was still at Matchroom? I don't think so. I don't know that they would have made the fights that way for that to become possible. The fact that you jumped up to junior middleweight was already kind of like, wow, like they're confident. I don't know that would have happened over there. Do you think that would have happened over there?
I'm not too sure what the plan was. I think the plan was for me to maybe possibly do a tournament. Maybe be where Chantel is, or be in a tournament at a different weight. I don't know I can't remember what the contract said, and then obviously do the Terri Harper fight. I think 3rd or 2nd.
No.
So that was the deal. But yeah, I'm not looking back. I'm just looking forward. It's been a good year. Ben's been good to me. Sky's been good to me. The fans have been good to me. The opportunities have been good to me, and I had to just repay them with homage.
Well, now I want your opinion as I'm going to need your boxing brain for this.
Okay, gosh.
You are an amateur.
To me, Sky mode's go.
Sky mode. I need Sky mode, Natasha Jonas. Katie Taylor has 2 options, and they're very good options. Personally, I think Alicia Baumgartner is going to knock out Hyun-Mi Choi. I think I've seen a lot of Choi. I've seen a lot of them both. 100% confident Alicia wins that fight. In your humble opinion, for Katie Taylor, which is the more difficult fight, Chantel Cameron or Alicia Baumgartner?
Chantel Cameron.
Why is that?
Chantel's work ethic. I think she's another fighter that's improving. I think she's grown in confidence, and I think Chantel needs big fights to get herself up. I think we've seen her kind of cruise through a couple, and then she had a little bit of grit between her teeth with McCASKILL, and she wanted to make sure that was put right, and do a number on it, and we've seen that. And I think if she got the Katie Taylor opportunity again, she'd want to step up to the mark and prove a point and prove why she's been avoided and prove, and I think Chantel's just tougher. I think Baumgardner is, you know what it gets me about Baumgardner? Like, every time I've seen her, it's like she's always got this silent confidence that she just knows something that you don't know. And like, we've seen it against Terri. I've never ever seen her before, and I was like, I had watched it because I knew she was fighting Terri, and I was like, and people were saying, Terri beats her easy and all that. And I was thinking, this is a tough fight. I actually said to someone, I think she'll knock Terri out because I don't think she's confident. And obviously that happened, and like, everyone was like, "Oh, that was a terrible decision." I was like, yeah. And that was another time Steffi was saying something. I was just like you either are naive or you just don't know about this girl, because if you watched what I've watched, you know that she's dangerous.
Yeah, yeah.
And obviously she went out and proved it. And then again, I thought Maya would win. And yeah, there was just an air of confidence about her all week, and she was like, we'll see, we'll see. I'm going to do this, I'm going to dog walk it, I'm going to do this. And I was like, and Sky was saying, oh, she's got under her skin, she's got under my skin. And I was like, no, Maya's like, nah, she's been through this all. And then obviously the fight, yeah, she performed really well. Me personally, I did have Maya ahead, but I wouldn't have argued either way. There was some rounds where it was just a bit of what you liked. Yeah, she again come on and put on a show, and she got that decision, she got that win. So there is something about Baumgardner, like, she does pull it out when she needs to. But I'm going to go with Chantel. And to be fair, I think above everybody, Chantel deserved it.
I will say, yeah, Chantel to me is an underappreciated fighter. I've been watching her since she was with Barry McGuigan, years ago. And it's like, she's excellent. There's not a lot that she can't do. And I actually feel, yeah, she hits hard, man. She'll mess you up. She's been up there at 40 long enough that she's fully acclimated to that weight. So it's like, it's a sensible. I like both fights. I could go for either fight, honestly. I like either fight. But I part of me, like, yeah, Chantel, she needs a big stage. She should get the fight 100%. On the big stage. AJ says, who's the hardest puncher that you ever fought?
Amateur, I would say Gulsum Tartar. But, and then as a pro, I'd probably have to go with the kid.
That's surprising, man, because that's another fighter. I've seen when she went pro. She's not a power, but maybe you know what it was? She was coming forward that fight, and that's the glaring difference. That, like, she don't really come forward a lot if you watch her. She move lateral, fight off the back foot, set up a trap, do a counter. She don't really come forward. That's like the first fight I seen where she got on her front foot. She's being aggressive.
Yeah, maybe it was the like, obviously the physical weight difference. Maybe it was that, but yeah, I'd probably say.
Oh, Dirty asks, more flowers for the champ. They love you on this channel. You may not know that, but people love you on this channel. You know what I'm saying? K Gaming asks, met you while you were waiting for the train after the Carabao final. Thanks for the chat and pick. Cream always rises to the top. And YNWA.
Yeah. Nice one. Thank you. I'm trying to look at your picture and see that I remember, but I've got the worst memory. But yeah, you never walk alone. Scouts to the end. We all stick together and all that.
So you feel that Chantel would be the tougher fight. In reference to the Mayer fight, there's a lot of talk for a rematch, a lot of talk for a second fight. Alicia's prioritizing undisputed. Do you
Yep.
agree with that decision that Alicia is going to go ahead and do that, and then if Mayer happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
I think it's hard because I get why fans sometimes think, oh, this was a close fight, it needs to be run again and whatever, whatever, whatever. But then, like with Harper, she went and made the decision for her, which doesn't feel right to me. But for her, it was the right decision, and which is exactly the reason that if I don't choose to rematch Harper and go a different way, I'm making the right decisions for me. So I get that fans obviously sometimes do want to see things, and fighters like Maya is pushing for that fight, like I was, but I also understand the other side of why you do go a different route. I get it. It doesn't help Maya, and it didn't help me, but you have to understand it. And that's why I'm not bitter about a going. It's not her that I'm bitter about, and about going a different way. I was mad about the way that it was handled, and what was promised, and then what was offered, and then some of the comments made by some of their team.
Now, McCaskill seems realistic. She still has, the title situation at 47 is very strange. She's been given a show cause letter by the WBO. They have to give them a reason to allow her to keep it. I'm not sure what's going on with the BA, but at minimum, she still has the Ring magazine, the IBF, and the BC. Have you at least started a dialogue with them to, for next year? Has that, olive branch been extended already for y'all to just have that preliminary conversation?
Not through me personally, but I'd like to think that it might be through Joe, whether that's through Joe or whether that's through Ben. Like I said, we'd go away and have a plan. They're the ones that have got to come to me with the opportunities, and then we sit there together, we go through them all, and then ultimately I choose. So all this I see all the time, and the narrative that Joe is, if this fight doesn't happen, it's because of Joe. Joe didn't want me to take the Terri Harper fight in the first place, and he didn't want me to take the Katie Taylor fight in the first place. And ultimately, I make the decisions. You know what I mean? So all this, it won't happen because he says so, and Joe will put Fanner in the works, and even Eddie, no matter what fight we do, whether if you'd have to work together if we went to the Harper fight, you'd have to work together if we went through Taylor fight. So all this, you can't work together, and Joe's going to make the decision. It's just a load of nonsense. I'm grown. I make the decisions for me, and yeah. So yeah,
that's the Twitter trolls, man. I've seen you say that more than once on Twitter, because they'll say that they're like, oh, Joe's gonna do this, and Joe's gonna
put the spanner in the works. Joe's gonna do this. It's always blame Joe. Oh my, he's the fall guy for everything.
Is Joe aware of this? That the whole internet is making him the fall guy.
I think he ignores it, if I'm honest. But we sometimes laugh about it. But it's always blame Joe. It's always blame Joe. I sneeze and it's blame Joe.
Yeah. All right. Well, look, I don't want to take up any more of your time. I know it's very late where you are. Thank you for your time. Thanks for getting back.
Welcome. Thank you.
Enjoy your holiday. Congratulations, you the lineal Ring Magazine, WBC, WBO. You know what I'm saying? Goddamn did. I'm very proud of you. Have a good night.
And you. Thank you.